The Hockey Central Saturday post-game show continues here. 11 games in the 12 games in the National Hockey League right now for Connor McDavid, 12 points. So currently he's a point-a-game player and 6 penalty minutes. They did not get the win tonight. Calgary Flames pulled out an incredible win right in the final seconds, 8.7 to go. Michael Frolik with a hat-trick goal to get the Flames the big win. Connor McDavid all over the ice, though. We talked about him all night, and no doubt we'll be talking about him for years to come. But you can hear from him right now as Mr. McDavid is standing by with Cassie.
Thank you very much, George. And Connor, thank you so much for joining us after tonight's game. And I'm not even going to talk about the game because it's a bad bounce and it's unlucky and it can happen to any team. And so let's get to Halloween. Has the team had their party? And what were you?
I was Happy Gilmore, and Luke Gazdic was my caddy. He's got that big bushy beard, so it was pretty funny.
How close are you with Luke and Taylor Hall? Those are two guys that you live with. You started in preseason and you continue to live with them now as the season progresses.
Yeah, very close with them. I was very fortunate that they kind of took me in and included me in everything, and eventually ended up living there. So I'm very good friends with them and very grateful for all that they've done for me early on.
You know, I know you played against another friend of yours tonight in Sam Bennett, and one thing I was watching some draft footage. I mean, it's obviously a huge deal for everyone in Edmonton that you're here, and you've got the nicknames McSavior and McJesus and all those types of things. A little too much pressure. But one thing that struck me about you at the draft was sort of the fact that all this hoop was going on. You've been picked number 1. And then you want to see if your teammate from Erie, Dylan Strome, was picked. And you said, hey, can I just sit and watch this Arizona pick? So take us through that as we show some footage here of that.
Yeah, Stromer's easily my best buddy, or at least one of them. So, it was a special moment for me to be able to see that. And I definitely didn't want to miss it. So we're very proud of him and all that he's done, and I'm sure he's the same. So really good buddies, and that was definitely a special moment.
And that picture of the three of you, this one here at the end, the 1, 2, 3 pick, I mean, and that's something you'll probably have up at your house in a basement when you buy a new house at some point?
Yeah, I think so. It's something that's very special, and I'm very proud to be drafted and to be drafted by Edmonton, and to go through that whole process with my good buddy and Dylan Strome, and like I said, it was just a special process and something that I'll never forget.
One thing I want to talk to you about, and I've done some work with Bobby Orr on a Chevrolet Safe and Fun hockey program for 16 years, and I've watched him work with some of his young clients, and we would go for dinner. He'd say, Cass, come with me. We'd go for dinner to a client's house. He'd know their grandmother's name. He'd know everybody's name. As you're signing a jersey for the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, I guess, and Bobby Orr's back. But just talk about that decision by your family to pick that agency, knowing that Bobby Orr kind of went through what you are going through. Yeah,
that was an interesting process. He actually came to my house when I was about 14. So anytime you have Bobby Orr walking through your house, it's pretty special. And I think he's just someone that you can really trust. He's such a great guy. And he has a great surrounding cast as well, and Rick Kern and Jeff Jackson and Dave Gagne, and the list goes on and on. So it's just an agency that I certainly had my eye on, and like I said, I'm very grateful to be with them.
Now, are you a guy who watches a lot of other hockey?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah, a fair amount.
The highlights and other games when on your off nights and stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this Jaromir Jagr tweet. I think it was the goal you scored against Detroit, which was a highlight reel goal. Yeah. And he tweets this. Did you see it? And what do you think when someone like that tweets something like that?
Yeah, that was unbelievable. I mean, he's one of the all-time greats, and for him to still be playing is amazing. But for him to tweet something like that was very special, and I thought that was pretty cool of him to do.
Now, I know you played with Sam Bennett at the under-18s in 2013 in Sochi, if I remember correctly. And that, I don't know if that was the sort of the coming out moment of Connor McDavid, because everyone kind of knew who you were, but you beat Crosby's numbers in that tournament. Just how important was that tournament, do you think, for your current success?
Yeah, it was some of the most fun I've had playing hockey, I think. It was a really tough year, my rookie year in Erie. We didn't win many games, and we had a little success, but certainly not much. And to have the opportunity to go over there and win something special was very fortunate. And I've been friends with Sam for a long time, and for us to do that together as well was a great time. And yeah.
You also got to meet some other Team Canada guys, and of course, a former Edmonton Oiler and Wayne Gretzky. and Sidney Crosby. There was a picture of you guys from the ring ceremony from the World Junior Championships last June. Was that the first time you'd met them? Or got a chance to really sit down and talk with guys like Crosby and Gretzky?
Yeah, for sure. That was the first time I had met Gretzky. I had met Sidney when I was 15 in Irium. I don't even know if he would remember. So it was very cool to be able to sit down with them and just kind of talk hockey. And those are two of probably some of the best players to ever play. So it was a very cool moment for me.
Now, do you ask them questions, or you just sit and listen, or like what was? You don't have to say what was said or who said it, but maybe the best piece of advice you came out from that night.
Yeah, I was trying not to be that annoying 18-year-old and ask them questions all the time, but was for sure trying to get a little bit of insight into the league and and what it's like. So. They were very great and answering all those questions, and I'm sure they were getting a little bit annoyed by the end of it. So it was definitely special.
And lastly, family's always important, and especially you move away from home, you're moving out west and playing in the NHL. Just describe that picture. That's at the draft, and for them to be there to celebrate that success for you.
Yeah, it was so special. I actually had about 40 people there, so. Obviously, that's the close family there, but grandmas and grandpas and aunts, uncles, cousins, all of them were there. So I was very lucky to have the support that I do, and I love them all so much. So I'm very lucky that way.
Well, Connor, thanks for this. Happy Halloween. Go have some fun tonight, even though you guys had a tough loss, but really appreciate your time after a tough loss, and we'll send it back to George Strombolopoulos, who you've met before too, I think.
Yeah, I've met him a couple times. Thanks a lot for having me.
All right, George.